Okay guys, we're ready to put this transmission back in. I got the torque converter seated properly. I've got the seals replaced. Troubleshooting is done. Torque converter lockup solenoids replaced. And all that's back together. So the transmission is ready to go back in. Right now I just got to get the flex plate torqued up. And then we will get to wrestling this transmission back in. Okay guys, I've cleaned this steering box up, got all the grease and grime off of it. I was able to get a little bit on both bolts and both lines here. I was able to get a little bit off of them. They weren't loose, but I was able to at least tighten them a little more. So we're going to say that fixed all the problems there. Alright, and we're going to move on to the thing I've been procrastinating on the most. The rear main seal cover thingy. Great. Alright, we're going to look and see what's going on behind here together. There's just a bunch of 10mm bolts. Let's see what's behind door number 1 here. Oil. Okay, we got oil. Well, I don't think we're going to get it off of there. There we go. Alright. Kind of anticlimactic, but right there is the oil pan, and there was oil in that bolt hole, and there's no gasket on this side, so that's where the oil was coming from, right there. See oil coming out of that bolt hole right there? You can see right here, there's no gasket over here, it's just the rubber gasket in here. So I'm wondering if maybe this rubber gasket failed somewhere, like right here. It looks like the weakest point, and maybe got in there. Or it's getting there from the backside. But if it's getting from the backside, probably a problem. PJ. Is that for Pastor J? Is it in the spirit of your car? I hope not. So why is that even there? It doesn't do anything. I don't know. So maybe putting a little Permatex right here will do the trick. Guess I can figure these holes here must be for some engine with other accessories or something. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. They just have a random hole with a gasket. Same thing with the other side. I'm probably being too picky here, but this is very difficult to get to. I do not want to take any chances on this. But there are some times when you just, alright, that's close enough, Jim. Good work. Oh, and if you know what movie that's from, put it down in the comments. What I do need to do now is clean this surface. It's brake clean. Because it's going to get Permatex. I'm not going to spray it directly on it. So I'll put it on my lint-free rag. What that will do will allow for the Permatex that goes on the bottom to be able to stick well. The rest of this is rubber gasket, so I'm not too worried about that. I do want it to be clean, but doesn't have to be free from oil. But this does. Yep, very good. It's free from oil now. And my foot's asleep. That's not good. Alright. Okay. I'm ready to get the Permatex. When I put the rubber seal over, if it's lubricated with oil, it'll keep it from folding and it'll slide on easier, so it doesn't get kinked or whatever. Alright, I've already put the Permatex on this bottom lip here, which requires Permatex. I was pretty liberal on that because this can't leak, because there's no way to get to it once it's sealed up, the transmission's in, so there's no actual way to get to it after that. So I am being very liberal with my Permatex on this one. And this is oil resistant, so it shouldn't break down and drop in any excess that goes in the other side, shouldn't fall away. And another thing is, another really bad thing about this is, so I've got to slide this on. I'm doing a little cross pattern here, just kind of making it up as I go, but it should work. And it's rubber all the way around except for the bottom, so I also have to get the bottom ones first. The bottom, the all the way around first, so it's flat against the thing and then against the block, and then I can tighten the bottom ones, because if I tighten those up and try to tighten these up, it may not be fully seated yet, so those will be last. A little extra for safekeeping. Probably won't actually matter, but makes me feel better anyway. Here we go. That's how we do that. I did put some oil around this seal, and I did have to end up having to use this insulation tool that comes with it, by the way. It went inside to keep the seal stretched, and then when you push it on, it pushes out, and then it comes back onto the crankshaft with a good tight seal. So, anyway, at least that's my explanation of the theory. Okay, so that's enough for tonight. What I am going to do is tomorrow we'll get the flex plate back on. I got to look up the torque spec for that. I do have some Loctite to put on it, on the bolts. We will need to look up that torque spec, and I'll actually get the torque wrench out for this, because this is a stress component. So, alright, see you tomorrow. I'm here with the flex plate, putting that together. Everything I can find of this says that this should be 70 foot-pounds. There were some earlier models that 55, but these are tracking at 70 foot-pounds. Couldn't find anything better than that, so that's what I'm going with. I'm going with 70 foot-pounds. So I got my Loctite here, the blue Loctite. It looks like it's still good, actually. I'm lining up the hole with the with that little bracket thing, or washer looking thing. And this is just some thread lock. This transfers all the torque of the engine straight to the torque converter. So these bolts here take all the abuse. And there's only 4 bolts on the torque converter. So just those 4 bolts take all the power and abuse as well. Now this Loctite here isn't like the Loctite you use on home crafts. It doesn't it takes a lot longer to set up, so it gives you time to do all your torquing and all that stuff. Alright, it went in, but it's definitely a little tighter than the rest. Okay. Alright, here's where it gets interesting. You've got to hold the engine you have to hold it I need to get something to hold this good and tight while I torque these. Alright, I've used this a few times for this purpose. As you can see, it's a screwdriver that's busted off the end. So let's go ahead. Click means that it's at the specs. Okay. Flex plate is on. Now we're ready to start lifting the transmission in. Oh yeah. Nice. Alright, I've got a couple of bolts in. Now I'm just gonna tighten it up against, get a couple of those in, and then I'm gonna get this rear mount in, and then I can take the jack out. Really just 4 bolts and I can have it suspended. Alright, I'm going to do the same to the bottom bolt. Just got to lift it up a little bit. I should be able to get these in now. Okay, now I just need to move Just need to pry ever so slightly. Maybe not. Maybe just a little. There we go. Okay. There we go. Look at that. And that's how we do that. See, it's suspended. Alright, I got these transmission mount bolts in. And I got them snug. But these do have a torque spec that's pretty high. But what I like to do is use star torque, which is basically just you torque it till you see stars and you know you're good. That ain't going nowhere. Alright, I got some of the top bolts in. Got this bracket back reinstalled. And I'm going to go ahead and put these lines in so that I don't lose these clips. Alright, let me check the O-ring. O-ring is still in place. There we go. Just get these little clips. This one's going to be a little bit more aggravating, it looks like. Yeah. All right. All right, we're gonna call that done. Now on to this. All right. Now, gotta remember the spring goes in first. Spring goes in. And this goes in. And that snaps in. My guess is I need to pry it. Maybe. Fortunately, I have pry bars. I need to do something different. Let's see. There's one. Never see that again. There's two. Alright. Yep. That was easy. Alright. Now the question is, in the right place. Let's snap this little thing in. this, I think, is over top of it. Maybe that goes in first. Does it? No. Well, I know that one on there. I don't know how. We'll call that extra. Oops. That goes there, pretty sure. Yeah. I know that stuff goes down here. I think I have a nut for that. I got plenty of engines around. I'll find one. Alright, it's bolted up. It's not going anywhere. So, let's get this jack out of here. That is rather satisfying. By the way, if anybody wants to borrow a transmission jack, feel free, I got one. It wasn't that sketchy. Okay guys, I've got the bolted in. I gotta tighten a couple of them, and I'm missing one, so I'm gonna have to find another bolt for that. But first, I'm gonna see if I can get this torque converter flywheel lined up. One thing I forgot to do before was to verify that the torque converter had one of the bolt holes straight down. I think I did, but I don't remember. Really bad thing now is I gotta figure out how to turn the torque converter to where it is down. I figured out that it's very easy to turn the torque converter. Okay, I got the new bolts here. They already have the blue Loctite already on them. They came with the torque converter. Again, don't ask me how this Loctite works, but even though it's kind of dry on there, it still does something. So I'm going to go ahead, put this one in. What I'm going to do is not that. I'm going to just snug it up. What happens is the torque converter slides forward against the flywheel, because right now it's back all the way. So I'm just going to kind of snug it, and then we're going to rotate the engine like this, like we did earlier. That's snug. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. There's 4. So I'm going to rotate it all the way to the opposite side, 180 degrees. So I'm going to bypass one, go to the next one, snug it up. Then I'll come back, put the rest in, and torque it up. Something I just learned or forgot, that there's one of these bolt holes that has a little indentation on it, which lines everything up perfectly, and you have to get that one in first. So I had to go back around and loosen the other bolts again by, you know, rotating the engine and loosen them up. So now there's play in it. Just enough play where I can get that bolt in and tighten it up first. So now I'll go around. I got that one, you know, at least a little bit tight now. I'll go around the other one, 180 out, tighten it up, and I'll also go ahead and torque it. Then I'll come back to this one, torque it, then we'll go to the cross pattern, the other two. Alright, get this thing torqued. There we go. Alright, I've got everything buttoned up. Up under here. Torque converter's all torqued up. I got the CV axle, the one on this side with the bracket already on. That's the one I fought with earlier. Still got to finish all the suspension stuff, but right now I'm going to go ahead and put this cross beam back on. Motor mount assembly, and go ahead and put that on. And I'm going to come back under here and check the pan, put the new gasket in the pan, and all of that. So here we go. All right, let's get this up here, get it started. See what we got. Okay, it's harder than I remember. I can get these back ones on. There's 4 bolts in the back, and they're all pretty tight. So, and these 2 go in here. Hopefully they line up, and they do. Well, very good. All right, let's finish this up. All right, before I get too crazy with that, I'm gonna get my earplugs in. Hold your ears, here we go. Let's try this one more time. That ain't going nowhere. Why is there fluid in it? Why is there fluid in it? Well, that was a surprise. Let's see how much. Well, just missing out all the thing. Let's see how much is in here. That must have came draining out of all the crevices as I was moving it around, I guess. Okay, we went ahead took this off and cleaned up the pan again. I guess it was just fluid that drained down while we were moving it and everything. So everything is good. So we're going to go ahead and put the new gasket in and tighten her on up. Okay guys, I got the other side done on this. See the axle in, which was the hardest one. I had that bracket in. You saw me take it apart. So I'm going to try to get this other side out. Or in. How did I get it in? Go. That's seated. Now I gotta remember how I did this. I think I did it like that. I don't think I did it like that. I forgot to put this washer on the CV axle, so I gotta take it back out. Oh no. There we go. Yeah. Now I can get this in. There we go. Much better. And go ahead and tighten these up. All right. I'm going to hit them with the number 2. All right. Good deal. Okay, I guess you guys are watching. So I really got to get on this one because this is the steering. This is a very important nut. All right, here we go. Cover your ears. Oh yeah, it's on there. Tight, calipers back on. That's tight, this is tight. That's all good. seated. It is fully seated. All right. Ready for a tire. All right, it's time to go ahead and put this thing back on the ground. I got some stuff up top to do, but we are on the final stages here. I'm going to go ahead and check these lugs before I forget. I always do this. My torque spec is always put some weight on it. There we go. That way I know they're good and tight. Of course, as I've aged, that torque spec's gone up just a little bit over the years, but it's never failed me before. So let's get started in the engine compartment. All right, we're almost to testing phase. Just hang in there with me, guys. So, first thing I need to do is I broke one of these clips back here, so I need to zip tie this. That'll be just fine. Let's do that. And now we've got a little evap canister thingamajig. Alright, now this connects there, and I guess clips right there. I just learned something. This nut that I thought I lost earlier was not lost, because this bracket isn't held on by a separate nut. It's held on by the battery box nut, and I had forgotten all about that. Yep, that goes there just like that. And there was the missing nut I thought I'd lost, because it actually goes along with the battery box. We are cooking with gas now. You know, when the battery box goes in, you're almost done. Next thing we gotta do is get some ATF in here, and then it's ready to start up. Alright, it's time to fill this thing up with some ATF. Now, if you're wondering where the dipstick is for the transmission, there is not one. This is all you get, is a cap that says for dealer use only. You know, and I'm thinking to myself, really? So, there's a trick that I found. Just take the oil dipstick and there's where it says safe for oil. On the back side, I made two marks. This mark here is full on the transmission fluid while it's running, and then this other mark way down here is while it's cold. So it should be between here and here. Cold here, hot here. So just made a mark there. And so that's what I'm going to use to check this, is the oil dipstick. Don't ask me why they didn't do that. I guess they were afraid you wouldn't get the right stuff, ATF4. I mean, come on, guys. Anyway. Alright, I'm back here on the 2016 town and country and looking for leaks. We drove it for a little bit, felt good, so I'm gonna drive it for you as well, because I ran out of space on my phone. So there was a little bit of wetness here, which I think is coming from something in power steering back here. I tightened up some lines, but I didn't see anything that was obviously leaking. Oh, maybe I do now, because I cleaned up. Look at that. I don't know if it's leaking from right there. Huh. So it might need a new power steering hose. Well, I can't do anything about that right now, but I'm gonna have to have them have it checked out when I get back home. But yep, that's where it's coming from. I'll be wish I'd had it running for a little while, but I was checking back here. I was looking from the other direction and nothing was leaking from there, so I'm pretty sure it's that line right there. Alright, at least I know what to tell them. They'll have to take it to a shop and get them to replace that line. So, okay. I'm satisfied. So we're going to go for a little test drive. Alright, we got it running. We've topped off the power steering fluid because it was down a little bit again. So, I've also got no check engine light on. They put about 40 miles on it last night. So no engine codes yet for the transmission. That P0740 seems to be cleared, which is that infamous one. So we're going to take it for a test drive, see how it feels. Alright, we're going to do a test run on this and see how it shifts. Alright, well it seems fine. I'm going to take off real slow and see how it shifts, how it feels. Feels really good. Shifting feels much better, much faster than it did before. So we're gonna go ahead and do this again. As you can see, we've got no check engine light, which is good. It seems to be working very well. Shifting nice. See, we got our solar farms over there. So this curve is where my daughter was learning how to drive. Came around this curve too fast, and Mom tried to correct it, and she ended up jumping that ditch, Dukes of Hazzard style, and landing right there by those trees up against them. And just missing that water runoff canal, gigantic ditch thing. So That was a crazy day. It's beautiful out here though. This is the road kids like to come back and play. Do a little racing and burnouts and whatnot. Don't ask me how I know, because I had a kid that liked to do that. Though he thought he was getting away with it. He didn't realize I used to be a kid too. Alright, I'm real satisfied with this. Right there. There's the high mark that I made. Perfect. Perfect. So if you're getting ready to try to buy a used car, there's some things you really need to get in order to make sure you're not getting a lemon or something that's a problem with it. You really need one of these, right? You need a code reader that you can go and check the codes, and it'll show up even if they've cleared the codes. Which you can also get a more expensive one like this one here that does ABS and airbags and all that kind of good stuff as well, but that's a bit more expensive. But this right here works just fine to tell you what the code is, and then you can ask the real questions, and you can ask the real questions and make sure that they are not trying to pull one over on you. This was a big deal here. That P0740 code is a basically all the shops tell you if you get that code, you just replace the transmission, the whole thing. They just don't want to mess with any of the troubleshooting and all of that. They say just go replace the transmission. That's the easiest thing to do. And to be honest, I don't blame them, because if they went and fixed one problem and that was masking another problem, then you're right back in the same boat, having to take the transmission out. So I mean, I do get it, but we're certainly not in a position to do that. That's like $4,800 or so, and so we're looking to spend about $1,000 on this fix as well. All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode. Looks like the 2016 transmission is working just fine. Wait, don't go anywhere yet. I have updates. So, as you saw, the 2016 Town & Country transmission repair went very well. It changed better than it was before. Drove it all the way home, which is 600-800 miles, and everything went well there. Drove it for another week, and all of a sudden, an awful noise internal to the transmission began. So, end up finding out that it was the transmission oil pump inside the transmission was going out, and it began making noise. Remember what I just said before, that the code and the torque converter issue could have been masking another problem? Well, this apparently was it. So they ended up having to replace that transmission anyway. It's almost a $5,000 repair now, instead of being done with it at $1,000. But I have good news. There is the church that my family goes to up there is a wonderful church family, and they literally brought up a collection and was able to pay for that transmission for them, knowing that they could not afford it. That is a true testament of brotherly love and how the church family can come together for a young family that they're ministering to, and I'm just excited about that. Definitely like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed this. We definitely have a lot more projects coming for sure. But unfortunately, this one just didn't turn out as planned. But sometimes that is the way it goes with mechanical things. And we will see you in the next video. Have a great day and God bless.